everything is not pretty for Evan Neal. But then you understand that, you know what? This guy just flat out gets the job done.
I can't wait to grill Keith on this next guy. Evan Neal, offensive tackle, University of Alabama. When we first did Evan, we had some questions. And then we came back through the cross-check process, and it felt like we found some answers. So I'd love to hear from you from the time you did the initial write-up on Evan Neal to when you came back and revisited, whether it was context from other players in the class, whether it was some contextual things that you took from Alabama's offense or Evan specifically. What was the biggest thing that helped shift your opinion as somebody who was initially a little lower on Evan and slow to buy in to now having him in the range where we have him as a consensus top 10 valuation and over a 90 grade amongst our entire team?
So the process for me with Evan Neal started with the 2020 film, right, when he played right tackle. And there were some issues there. He looked really uncomfortable playing the right tackle position, just as far as spatial awareness, understanding his I guess, relativity to the guard and, giving up those inside gaps and just his, ability to get in his pass sets. So it started in 2020 for me. Then you watch early on the 2021 film, I believe that he was still getting comfortable with the left tackle position. But then when you finish off the season, you see the complete product, right? And while I will say this, everything is not pretty for Evan Neal. But then you understand that, you know what? This guy just flat out gets the job done. He's 6'6", 360-pound playing left tackle. He gets the job done. He's a very strong, he's an explosive kid vertically, and he uses that, especially in the run game. When at the snap of the ball, he just takes off on guys, right? He just fires off on them and tries his best to get that momentum rolling and move those guys off. Now, there could be things he could develop in his pass sets, but it's things you can work with. So I had to kind of take it in context and be like, you know what? It may not be the prettiest, it may not be how you draw it up, but is this guy effective at what he do? And I had to answer that question and say yes. So that's why everything kind of came full circle for me with Evan Neal.
6'0", 337 pounds. I think they said this is the first time he's in the 330 since like 9th grade or something like that.
Wow.
Cut down for the NFL Combine. 34-inch arms, 10 1/8 on the hand. So this is a very large human being playing offensive tackle.
I'm glad, Keith, you brought up the run blocking and the momentum that he generates. And look, Evan Neal's awesome, right? He's a top 10 player for us. We think he's phenomenal. One thing that I'm looking for him, though, at the next level is kind of get away from that momentum a little bit, because I think that's where some of those issues with sustainability of blocks and where he was on the ground just a little bit more than you would like showed up. Where it's like, hey, man, sit on your hips, get your hands fit, and run your feet, and not necessarily subscribe to your ability to just be bigger and just bully people, which he was able to do in college. And so I think that's going to be a bit of an adjustment for him is, can he sit on his hips, get his hands fit as a run blocker, and really just kind of focus on that body positioning as opposed to just like, hey, I'm going to blast you out of this gap, because it's not going to happen at the same clip at the next level.
No, I agree. And it came down to, right, it's effective, but could it be better? And I think that's what you got with Evan Neal, right? Like, when he gets the job done, but could it be better?
No, I was saying I think that there will be teams that have real questions of if they should play this guy at right tackle or guard. I thought that there were times on tape where he has some issues with speed still, right? But he is very explosive and strong at the point of attack. But there will be legitimate questions of if he should play on the right side or kick him inside the guard.
I think this is a testament to some of the challenges of this guy didn't play the same position 2 years in a row ever at Alabama.
That's a good point.
Right? And you think about young players and developing, especially at the offensive line position, we're right guard, now we're right tackle, and now we're left tackle, right? So I think I was glad that was where you chose to take talking about your experience with Evan Neal, because it took you till the end of the season to see what the finished product looked like at left tackle, because the dude never played it before, right? So. And that's you see offensive linemen go into the league who are exposed to cross training, and it really stunts their growth.
Yeah.
So I think whatever path that they choose to take, as Dre made the point of saying, whether it is at guard or right tackle or left tackle, I'm a little more apprehensive. I mean, we talk about some of these teams in the top 10 of the draft who have made an offensive tackle pick in recent years, whether it was Mekhi Becton with the Jets or the New York Giants with Andrew Thomas. I would hate to say, hey, let's start Evan at left guard because it's the hole on the offensive line that we feel we need to fill, and then year 2 we'll switch him up. Well, you're going to play a different position 5 straight years? Like, let him pick a spot.
Yeah.
So whether it's right tackle, guard, left tackle, that's my number one question with Evan Neal is how much positional stability will he get at the next level? But as we've said, from a skills perspective, an explosiveness perspective, a functional athleticism perspective, he's a pretty rare bird. And those guys, Brentley, I know you had mentioned throughout the course of us talking about prospects this weekend, length and feet. And he might not be super smooth with his pass set just yet, but you see him get out in space, and from a functional athleticism perspective, he's got them both, and those guys get drafted early.